right, and welcome to Week 12 of Walk the Plank, the Perry Athletic Department podcast that will take a deep dive into the week that was Perry Athletics. We thank you for joining us here on our podcast. You can search for us anywhere that you get your podcasts. You can tell Alexa to play Walk the Plank, and she will literally do that for you. I'm joined by my co-host, Gene Winters. Thanks, Gene, for being here.
Yeah, another exciting week. Unfortunately, the fall teams are whittled down to one, but there was still some major excitement last week before getting into the winter sport.
Yeah, definitely. So we technically only have one athlete of the week this week. That'll be Christopher Bezig from our football program, and he will be joining us shortly. But we wanted to bring back two of our former athletes of the week and really sort of highlight their success at the end of the year that they both were able to enjoy. So to my right is Holly Viss. Thanks for joining us, Holly. She had an exciting end to her career here at Perry High School as part of our cross-country program. She qualified at the regional race at Boardman High School for the state championship meet down in Columbus this past Saturday, November 2nd. She ran at 12:45. And let's just walk through that experience, Holly. She was Athlete of the Week here back in Week 9. And so if you want to go back and search that podcast, you can go ahead and do that. Week 9 of Walk the Plank when Holly was here. But we talked at that time about some of your goals, not only as a team, but as an individual, because you can qualify as an individual as well as a team. And going into that postseason with the mindset of, hey, I want to get back. You'd qualified your junior year. You want to get back to the state meet, whether it's as a team or as an individual. So take us back a little bit to that race at Boardman and what your mindset was going in there, and then how that race went, and then we'll sort of recap the state championship meet too.
Yeah, so at Boardman, I really just tried to stay in like the top 24. I think that's what makes it.
Yeah.
So I just try to have like a good place, and so like the first mile, I just stayed around like the top 20, and then once like halfway through, I just made sure, because people usually call out places, so I just kind of paid attention to that as like coaches or parents called out the different numbers. And yeah, I would say like when it came down to the last part in the woods, I just tried to like push myself and get to the finish because I knew that I definitely had a chance.
Okay, awesome.
And I think you told us Boardman was one of the courses you did not like going in. So did that change now that you had success there?
It still was probably my least favorite because that one hurts the most because of the hills. But I'm happy that I was able to make it on that course.
So last week you're preparing for the state meet. Mm-hmm. Does practice change at all for you? Do you try to keep the same routine? Take us through your week knowing that you were going down to a little bit south of Columbus.
Yeah, so I pretty much kept it the same, and I had one of my teammates, Kate, she came and like ran with me throughout the week. So like on Monday I did some speed, and same with Wednesday, and Tuesday and Thursday I went on the elliptical, so I actually only ran like 3 days like before, so I ran Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I kept it the same from like the past couple weeks. Yeah.
Okay, so you tapered down a little bit, and this was actually your third time running down at Fortress Obetz, correct? So what would you say you took away from the previous two times, your sophomore and junior years, going into that your last race as a high school athlete for cross country?
Yeah, I would say the past 2 years at state, I feel like I didn't really get out as fast just because there's so many people coming all at the same time in the beginning. So it's hard to like really get out there and put yourself in front. So I just knew that I had to get a strong start, and that's definitely what I did this time. And then eventually each mile kind of work through and like catch some people and like bring up my places. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did.
Is there a spot you like to be to start? Like, were you able to get to that spot where with more people, was it difficult, or you got where you wanted? And
yeah, I mean, there was someone in the box like a couple away from me that I had raced like the week before, so I kind of looked for that person when I was starting. So like there was a couple people that I already ran against, so I looked for them and then tried to stay with them throughout the whole race. And then eventually when it came down to like the last mile and a half, I tried to like pass them, and yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah, so let's take us through the race a little bit. Like you said, that you're sort of jockeying for that position early on, but that last mile, you were in 35th place going into the last mile, Then you have a huge push there at the end to get you into 24th, knowing that the first 30 places are first team All-Ohio. Obviously, that was probably your goal, but how did you go about putting together that huge final mile and breaking 19 minutes for the first time ever, correct? So that's
Yeah.
your PR of all time, and how did you go about doing that?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's because it's my last ever like high school race, so I knew that I had to put everything that I had in that last like half part of the race. So when I got to the 2 mile, I was in 35th, but I feel like from there I got to like a turn after the field, and then once I got up to the hill, I just tried to pass people, especially when I came down because it's like a downhill, so I just like pushed myself past those people because I heard so many people saying like 25th, 24th, so I was like, I can push through this and stick it out through the last like half mile by the time I got around like in the 20s.
And I've been to Fortress Obetz before for the finals, and I've been to Boardman a number of times as well. It's a little bit different environment, right? The spectators are a little bit further away. Like Boardman, they seem to be like right on top of you. You could almost reach out and touch somebody. And they've got the big grandstand at Fortress Obetz for the state championships. Does that change at all for you? Will less people around, or, less coaches around? Coach, I know I talked to Coach Thomas. She was on one end, and Coach Ross was at sort of at the other end, trying to figure out where to cheer you on from.
Yeah, it was a little different because
Yeah.
I couldn't really see them like right by
Yeah.
me because there's a gate that kind of like separates us.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people cheering, especially when you go on the field, like
Okay.
because I passed there like 3 different times. So having all these people like cheering definitely helped because there's so many people there.
Yeah.
And then also my teammates, I actually did hear them when they were like
Okay.
cheering, and like I saw Audrey once because she was wearing like her pajama pants and she was all in red. We bought like matching pajama pants the night
Okay.
before, but
There you go.
it was easy to spot her, and I saw her at one point. So,
Was it difficult getting to sleep Friday night?
not really, just because I was probably tired from the day before because we had so much fun. Like we left at like 11, and we were with each other until like the whole day. So, I fell asleep pretty easily. Yeah.
Okay, great. And your plan is to run track for us in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
How much time do you keep running now? What's your off season, quote unquote, the winter season look like as you prepare for the spring track season?
So actually, I have to get surgery in like 3 days on my other leg.
Oh, wow.
'Cause-
Okay.
Yeah, so I had it on my right leg this past summer, but it's the compartment syndrome. What I had is pretty common in both
Okay.
legs. So I found out that I had it in my left leg when I came back. So I've been
Okay.
running with that. So yeah, I would say I'll be able to start going back on the elliptical in like December and kind of going in the pool too to get some like
Okay.
cross training in. And then I'm hoping to be back running like that first week of February. So yeah, I'd say
Okay.
it's pretty.
Well, Holly Viss, thanks for coming back onto the pod and joining us. Congratulations on your first team All-Ohio honors. A great way to finish up your cross-country career here at Perry High School. Best of luck with the surgery on Friday, and we'll hope to see you out on the track in the spring.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. Have
Yeah.
a great one. Thank you. Yeah, just a tremendous, when you're in that last mile, as she said, of your entire career, I'm sure the push is on, and knowing what, you've got to
Yes.
get inside that top 30, and she certainly did that and achieved her goals. So our next, person we'll bring up here, come on up, Audrey Austin, another person that has already been our Athlete of the Week here, back all the way to week 1. You were our inaugural Athlete of the Week for the female side of things. And we talked about your sort of journey and well-decorated career already coming into your senior year, but with that focus on really, qualifying for that state tournament and becoming the first female in Perry tennis history to qualify as a singles player. And congratulations, you did it. Spoiler alert, she did it.
Thank you.
She qualified for that state meet. So let's just talk about your season as a whole. It was so early when we had you on here. You only had probably 2 or 3 matches in. But let's just talk about your season as a whole.
Yeah, I would say it was a really great season,
Yeah.
not just for me, but for the team also.
Yeah.
We got back our CVC championship
Right.
this year, had a lot of wins. We participated in the Highland Invitational tournament, which
Yeah.
I placed second at.
Okay.
And, there's some good teams there. Like, I
Oh,
don't think there was
yeah.
a single easy round match there. My
Right.
first match was a 3-setter right away, so
Okay.
long day.
Right.
Yeah, and then we played a tough schedule. We played Gilmore twice, I
yeah.
think. That Ursuline match, which was right before I talked to you the first time.
Right.
We didn't finish, but that was a tough match also.
Right.
So,
Yeah, so those tough matches, and as you mentioned, congrats to the girls for winning the CVC, putting that numeral back on the banner in the gym. I know that was a focus of the team. But playing some of those harder matches, did that help you prepare for what you knew you were going to see in the postseason? We didn't know where we were going to end up from a draw standpoint, whether we'd be in Solon or Boardman or Strongsville. But we knew the competition was going to be good there no matter what. But does that help you get ready for those postseason matches?
I would say so, especially because we play like a variety of teams. Because
Yeah.
I've never been down to Boardman personally for postseason, but we still knew a few teams down there. Like
Yeah.
Geneva went with us, and
Sure.
Beechwood, and then Ursuline we're familiar with. But
Right.
otherwise, it's like a whole different group of girls down there. So it kind of gets you ready for
Yeah.
something you're not used to. But
Now let's just stay in Boardman because the first couple of matches were kind of easy for you to get through. Were you, I guess, expecting a little bit tougher competition, or was it just how the draw fell for you? Those were the opponents placed in front of you.
I think just the way the draw fell for me, like I wasn't expecting anything super tough up until the semis, just because getting seeded one, helps.
Right.
But also it put a little bit of pressure on me because
Yeah.
those 2 weeks of like sectional and district practices, like I felt so tense during practices and nervous because the pressure kind of goes on you to keep your spot,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you win a sectional championship. You're the number 1 seed coming out of Boardman. Now we're heading to Akron for the districts. But getting that number 1 seed, and when we talk to Christopher here, we'll preview wrestling maybe a little bit. But same concept from the state wrestling tournament. If anybody's been down to Columbus for that, when you're the 1 seed, the seeding is important as you come out. If you're a 4 seed, means you have to play a number 1 seed right off the bat, and you might be done really quick. Or if you're a 2-3, now it's a 50-50 match, and you're going to end up playing a 1 pretty darn quickly as well. So being that 1 seed coming out of Boardman onto Akron, how was your mindset there? You played a 4 seed right off the bat. Again, you're at the district level. No, there's no lunch meat out there. There's no easy
Right.
matches, So it's one of those things. You're playing a 4, but. So let's talk into the Akron side of it and the district side. What was your mindset going in there, knowing you had to win, 2 matches right off the bat, and you're at your goal?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, no easy matches,
Yeah.
obviously, but being the one, like from our sectional and everything, definitely helped a lot
Yeah.
because, I mean, even my sophomore year in doubles, we finished 1 at our sectional, and the years we didn't, our draws were so hard. Like that first round match is so hard to get by, and you don't get the second chance if you lose your first round. So just knowing that I have a good shot to at least win my first match put me in a really good mindset. I knew my second match was going to be tough because I had to play the girl from CVC. I mean, all the 2s were tough, but the girl
Yeah.
from CVCA is tough, and we're actually really good friends with each other, so it's
Right.
like awkward. But
Yeah.
but
your parents were talking to her parents, and
right,
you guys
but
obviously
also
seen
trying
a
to be
lot of each
enemies.
other all the way through to like youth tennis, right? So
Right.
now it's like, all right, one of you gets to move on and
Yeah.
achieve that ultimate goal, and one doesn't. But
yeah, but I don't know. I came out ready to go that match, and I felt really good about it.
you did.
So.
You played well. I was at that match,
Thank you.
and you took it to her, and you'll have no doubt about it. I mean, it was a straight 2-set match in and out of there, and so now you've qualified, for
Mm-hmm.
the state tournament. You've reached your goal. You still have to play a couple of more sets or a couple of more matches, I should say, after that to get the seeding for the state level. But that had to feel pretty incredible to
Oh, yeah.
know that you were going.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
awesome. And the first ever 4-time district qualifier as well. So let's just highlight some of those things as well. First time 4-time district, 2-time state qualifier, as you mentioned your doubles experience your sophomore year. You lead the Perry girls tennis history in career wins. not much else you could do other than obviously you get down to that state tournament. So let's talk about the trip. For those of you who don't know, we're at Worcester, College of Worcester for the state. In the past, it's been to Cincinnati, it's been at Ohio State. They've sort of moved it around. So here we are down in Worcester, and you come out hot out of the gates right off the bat, and you take it to that girl 6-0. And so were you a 3 seed going into there?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yep.
you were the 3rd seed heading from Akron into the state tournament. She was a 2 from the Toledo area. Did you have any experience with her? Did you know her at all?
No.
No, not at
No.
all. So
No.
your thoughts coming out 6-0, you're like, all right, let's go. I felt like I jinxed you because I said, you didn't hear me, but I'm like watching, I'm like, oh, all right, who's the next
Oh,
next
boy.
match? But
Right.
but it obviously didn't end up going the way you wanted it. But she sort of woke up. It was really cold, and I don't know if that had any impact on it. But let's just talk about your experience at the state level.
Yeah. That first set was great. Like, I don't know, I just wasn't missing at all.
No.
And but at the same time, like, some of those games were still really close.
Yep.
And I realized that afterwards.
Sure.
But she just had a whole momentum switch,
Yeah.
in the second set. And like you said, it was like she almost woke up and it
Yeah.
got warmer because
Yeah.
I warmed up with some of my friends that morning before
Yeah.
the match.
Yeah.
And it I couldn't even see 2 courts next to me because it was just so hazy and
Yeah.
freezing. But that definitely helps. The ball plays more live.
Yeah.
And then the third set, getting new balls also.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm kind of either way about it, depending. But
Yeah.
no, she stopped missing. She became more consistent, and I just I don't know. She started hitting the ball pretty hard too. I thought
Yeah.
it was a whole different player the next 2 sets. So.
I thought so, and and I think you obviously did the best you could. It was just one of those things. She was sort of locked in, and I've played some tennis in my life, not a ton, but it seems like that third set. If you're tied going in, whoever sort of wins that second set, sometimes like you said, has that momentum a little
Yeah,
bit. But,
for sure.
certainly does not diminish anything that you accomplished. You had a tremendous tennis career. Any goals, plans for the future? You want to play in college? You're not sure yet. You do want to play?
I
Okay.
do, yeah. I'm talking to a few coaches
Okay.
in schools, just not sure
Right.
where yet, but
Well,
yeah.
we can update that later in the year,
Yeah.
and we wish you nothing but the best of luck. So moving on from tennis, we're on to the hoop season now, right? You've started basketball practice. Your senior year, your sort of final farewell here on the basketball court as well as a multiple year starter for our basketball program. How has practice been going, and what are you guys looking forward to accomplish this year as a team?
Yeah, practice has been really good, I would say. We have a big group of freshmen that are all
Yeah.
pretty skilled, which is going to help us a ton. And we basically have our whole team back for the most part from
Yeah.
last year, so I think
Yeah.
we're just going to keep building off of that. We changed conferences in basketball, so conference championship will be a little tougher, but
Yeah.
that's definitely still a goal for this
Okay.
year. And then just to make it as far as we can in the postseason, I would say. We also have a few tougher games than
Yeah.
we normally do, so
Right.
so that'll really get us ready, I think, for postseason. But
Good.
A lot of road games early too.
yeah,
On the road, right off the bat. See, road warriors. So, yeah, I know the division change. I'm sure Chagrin, West G are going to be tough. Richmond Heights, probably a good team from what I'm understanding. We'll get us ready for the postseason though, and we are expanding our division, so it's going to be a little bit different than what we've seen. We've been a D2 team for your entire career here, but now we're going to have 7 divisions in girls and boys basketball. So it's just going to make the divisions a little bit smaller, a little bit more manageable, and you're going to play teams a lot more, our size of school, where as a Division II school, if you're a really small D2 like we were, and you're playing a really big D2, there's a pretty big gap there. Now we're going to be pretty much locked in. We're a D4, Division 4 team, and we'll see. I haven't even had a chance to look yet to see who's in our division. Northeast Ohio for D4, but we wish you guys nothing but the best of luck. I know there's a scrimmage tomorrow and another one on Saturday, so here we go. There's not a lot of rest. You went from one right to the other. So, all right, Audrey Austin, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on an outstanding tennis career. Thanks for coming back on, and best of luck during basketball.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, we go. Audrey Austin, state qualifier, first time in school history on the girls' singles side of things for tennis. So I wish her nothing but the best here moving forward through basketball season as well.
Yeah, just a great way to cap off a 4-year run for her, and just being able to watch her play this year, getting my first taste of tennis.
Yeah.
I tried to get down to that end enough to see her play. A lot of her matches were done before I could get down there, but just a great competitor, and great to see what she was able to accomplish. And when she was here in week 1, set her goals, and then see her go out and accomplish that during her senior year was a great feat to watch for those 2-3 months that she was on the tennis court.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, we'll get to see her in basketball
Yep.
as well, and won't waste any time here. We'll bring up our athlete of the week on the male side of things, Chris Bezig. Christopher, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Christopher is a member of our football team, and had a great week. Hat trick is a word we usually word for soccer, but I know that's what Coach Gesowich was excited about after the game. He's like, hat trick, and I didn't know what he meant by that until oh, that's right. Chris had 3 touchdowns last week, right? So somebody that I know you've been sort of all over the place. You long snap, you play offense, you play defense. But now this is new this year, right? This little fullback position that you've been playing. Tell us about that and how that came about.
Yeah, so middle school and youth, I was a lineman. I was a center
Right.
the whole time. So I was thinking, I'm going to be a center in high school too. And then just recently, junior year, switched over to H-back. Coach said I'll have more time on the field and I have a better shot of making an impact there. So I took his advice, want to get on the field as much as possible. So I became an H-back and did what the team needed.
But I'm sure that's everyone's dream too, to go from line to to a skilled position and,
Yeah, it
and
is.
go that way. Yep.
Well, it was awesome to see you get in there, and that's that little quick hitter. If you watched the live stream last week or if you were at the game, it's where we're down there on the goal line, 2, 3, 5 yards to go, whatever, and it's this little quick hitting, like, I don't know if it's a trap or a belly or a dive or whatever, but you get up in there pretty darn fast and you get moving, and you're right behind those linemen. So not really the tush push that you see from the Eagles all the time in the NFL, but you got in the end zone 3 times. So congrats on a great week.
Thank you.
And for being our player of the week with a big win over Bucknell last week, 42-6, 35-0 at halftime. You guys were able to get some rest in the second half. Play some young kids, so not only great for them because they're busting their tails all week to get in a playoff type of a game and atmosphere, but good for us to rest and get ready for Struthers this week. So let's talk about what Struthers, what are you guys seeing on film? So we will host Struthers this Friday, 7 p.m. What are the Wildcats going to bring at us here on Friday?
Well, they're big and physical, so just another opponent that's big and physical, but they are a 92% run.
Wow.
So they are going to run the ball, try and shove it down your throat, just like Kirtland. They're going to try and run all over you.
Okay.
Defense isn't the best in the world, but it's good. It's not terrible. And then their offense is just big. They're huge up front. So just like Bucknell.
Yeah, Bucknell was huge. 340, 320, 320, and 290s, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So I know, talking to some coaches on our coaching staff this week, that maybe not quite as big, but still some bigger kids than what we're used to seeing in the regular season.
And last week we had Chuck Thomas on, and he was
Yeah.
talking about using your guys' momentum, being a little bit smaller but more athletic to counterbalance the bigger players. So obviously you guys were able to see some of that success last week, being able to be maybe more agile than the bigger
Yeah.
offense or defensive lineman you had to go against.
Yeah, it definitely helps being smaller. Obviously, it's not going to be the greatest thing. You're giving up size, but you can use your size then to an advantage. Here, go duck under them real quick or run around them. Use your speed. They're going to be trying and grab you and hold on to you. Just try and get your hands off of them.
And a couple weeks ago we had Smith.
Oh, yeah, Drew.
Drew.
Smith.
Yeah.
And he talked about how wrestling has helped him, being a smaller guy but more agile, being a lineman going against other guys. So wrestling, how has that maybe helped you?
That's probably the only reason I play football. I
Okay.
mean, wrestling definitely helps for sure. I mean, knowing how my body and their body moves, I can move their body a lot better than they can move mine. I mean, yeah, I'm smaller, but I can go in. I know I've wrestled bigger guys, so it definitely translates.
Well, it sure is our MO on our. If you look at our defensive line, You're on there, Chuck's on there, Drew, Joey Baldry, they're all wrestlers. They've all wrestled at some point in their careers. And so while you guys aren't going to rival the 285-pounders from Struthers that we're going to see this week, I think we offset that with our speed and agility and our quickness. And again, like you said, sort of knowing where they're going to go and how you need to get around them, because you use that on the mat as well.
Yeah, I mean, offensive line and defensive line, it's the same thing. It's just hand fighting. I mean, that's all you do in wrestling to get position, so it definitely helps out.
Do you have a preference, football-wise, offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball?
I think I would prefer more offense.
Okay.
I have more of an opportunity to make an impact on the game, so
Yeah,
definitely
well,
offense.
Certainly with 3 touchdowns last week, there were half of our touchdowns scored by Chris Bezig, so that was cool to see. And then let's talk about just playing. So this will be our last. We've had senior night, the last regular season game against Hawken, and then hosted Buckdale, and now we're hosting Struthers. It is our last home game. It'll be the last time that you'll step on this field. If we win, we'll play at a neutral site from here on out. So let's just talk about your experience from youth football all the way up, playing on that field as you know throughout all of the years, and what it sort of means to you that this will be your last one, no matter what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely heartbreaking a little bit
Yeah.
to see all that time go by. I mean, you played with these guys your whole life. It's
Yeah.
crazy to see this is the last time you'll be on the field. But yeah, let's not make it the last time we put on the cleats, though.
Right, yeah, that's the key. I'm sure that's what the coaches are focused on. And let's just talk about you guys as seniors. You all have played together, whether it's been for the last 2 or 3 years here in high school or middle school or youth. Just talk about the senior class in general and how your mindset's been the entire year coming off a state championship where, you know, we have expectations now and there's more of a bullseye on our back probably more now than ever. But talk about the senior class in general.
I mean, it's just a great bunch of guys. I mean, we've all been a family forever now. I mean, we all have that unique bond that it's
Yeah.
hard to break. I mean, the whole line has played together almost their entire life, so that
Yeah.
helps out. I mean, Chuck and Joey have played together, so they have a special bond there.
Yeah.
Walter, Luke, Owen, they all have a special bond. I mean, throwing the ball. Darion, he's relatively new at the running
Yeah,
back, but he's made an
right.
impact.
Yeah.
So, and on defense too, they all have a chemistry worked out.
Speaking of just running backs real quick, I want to just drop a little bit lower, but Carter Hopkins has had a very good sophomore season. Just talk about what you've seen in his growth from last year to what he's able to accomplish so far this year.
Freshman year, he was a little bit, hesitant to get out there. There's some bigger guys, so he's a little nervous. But then he made a huge gap this summer. I mean, he was hitting the weights. He was basically eating them. He was always in there working out. He's always working hard. Carter's made a huge impact, though. I mean, he filled some shoes that need to be filled for sure. And I can't wait to see what he's going to do next year.
All right. Well, Chris Bezig, you are our athlete of the week, so you get your free Dairy Queen meal deal. Thank you to DQ
Thank you.
for always supporting our athletes of the week. You may want to eat that before wrestling season starts, my man. So you know how that goes.
get
I know
this
how
in.
I know how you guys have to watch what you eat. But before we let you out of here, number one, we wish you nothing but the best. This Friday against Struthers as we take on them in the regional quarterfinals. And then the wrestling season, as I mentioned, right around the corner. Are you excited for that? It's your senior year.
Oh,
you got to go down to state, qualified as a junior, down to the state championships last year. What are you looking for? A little preview. You never know. You might be back here for winter, but a little preview to the wrestling season in case we don't get to talk to you again.
We're going to have a good team, good solid team this year.
Okay.
We got some freshmen that are going to need to fill some shoes for sure, and we're going to need some seniors to lead the way for them. But can't make any promises, but
Okay.
I'm hoping we're back here.
Okay,
And I'm
sounds good.
Assuming same message, obviously Coach Rowan hits retirement, but now you, obviously the last 3 years with him, but into your senior year, I'm guessing the message is still the same coming into this year.
Yeah, it was sad, we didn't get to win state duels for Coach Rowan, but we'll do it this year for him. We're going to, Coach Trent's leading us this time, so little new management, but we all got faith in him. We're invested in him. He's been with the program forever, so
Yeah,
he's a
he
great
came
guy.
in 4 years ago. We hired him as one of our science teachers 4 years ago with the idea, hey, down the road, no guarantees, but we knew Coach Rowan was going to be stepping aside at some point in time, and it's worked out. And I know he's excited and chomping at the bit. November 15th is our first official wrestling practice. They've had some preseason stuff going on, and I know these guys, again, talked about a lot of football guys that are wrestling, probably chomping at the bit to get ready because there's certain things you got to make sure you're on top of as you head into the wrestling season. But obviously, hopefully, our football season goes as long as it can as well. So, Christopher, before we let you leave, I'm going to ask you some off-the-wall questions here, just a little bit deeper
Okay.
dive into Christopher Bezzig, some of your favorite things. Let's start with your favorite food.
Ooh, favorite food? I have to say Skyline Chili.
Okay, I'm not shocked by that. I've heard that before from the Bezzig family. How about favorite movie or show?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'd have to go show. I like The Office the most. The Office is probably my
a
favorite
good
show.
one. That's very.
Do you have a
that's
favorite
classic one.
season?
Ooh, that's a hard one. It's definitely between season 3 and season 2, though. Those are like the
Okay.
prime Office for me.
I always go 3 and 4, but that's
Yeah,
good.
no,
That's-
I just like the older Office
Yeah.
a little bit more. I think it's a little more cutting.
Okay. That's good. I like where we're digging
Yes.
into little categories now, a little bit deeper dive even. Favorite subject in school?
I'd have to go with English.
Okay.
I like to write.
All right, fair enough. Dad's an English teacher, so it was either English or FCLA.
Oh,
I
yeah,
figured
you
it
know,
was
one of those two.
Your best athletic accomplishment. This could be anything for you personally, as a team, anything, youth, all the way up through high school.
I'm gonna have to go with wrestling on this
Yeah.
one. I'm gonna have to go with Academic All Ohio. I know, like wrestling, you think, oh, it's gonna be winning something or something
Yeah.
like that, but I think academics translates into college, so academically.
Awesome, that's great. And if place to visit anywhere in the world, money's not an object, you can go anywhere and it's paid for. Where are you heading?
I think I would have to go to probably Rome. I want to see the Colosseum.
Okay.
That'd be pretty cool.
Awesome. Rome would be fun. That's on my list as well. College plans, anything? I mean, we're still somewhat early in the year. Here we are. It's November 4th, 5th, whatever. I had a college visit last week. You want to participate in anything athletically in college, or are you just looking at schools?
Right now, I'm athletically, probably wrestling.
Okay.
If the opportunity presents itself, I would be down for it.
Yep.
But obviously, I'm there to get an education first. And
Right.
I want to make sure that that comes first, and coaches know that.
All right. There he is, Mr. Christopher Bezzig, our Athlete of the Week. Congratulations,
Thank you.
Chris. Best of luck on Friday and the rest of the season and into wrestling as well.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Don't forget that.
Thank you.
Use that before the season starts, my man. All right, there we are, Christopher Bezzig. So football again, Struthers here Friday night at home. It's the last time we'll host a game. This season will be, if we win, we will be on the road at that point. We don't know where, we don't know who our next opponent will be, but it'll sort of be a bittersweet night. I told the parents on senior night, no tears, no crying yet, because it's not our last home game. We were hoping to get a couple more, but now we're there, and it is the last one. So we'll see what Struthers brings here Friday night.
And he had experience with Struthers back in 2017, had them in a playoff game, which Perry ended up winning.
Yep.
How did the rest of Division 4 Region 13 play out? I guess I should have looked at it before coming in.
Yeah.
I'm guessing all the top seeds took care of their matches.
Pretty much held serve all of the top seeds. So we're in the quarterfinal round now. So we have a 2-7 matchup. Lake Catholic is the 1 seed in our region. They have a 1-8 matchup. They're playing Field. The 3-6 matchup is Streetsboro, and I think it's Northwest. Canal Fulton Northwest is the 3-6. So that winner of Streetsboro and Canal Fulton, we will face in the next round. And then the 4-5 matchup, Glenville will travel to West Branch in a 4-5 matchup. West Branch is undefeated at 11-0. Glenville has some losses on the year. However, if you look at their schedule, one of their losses is the Avon Lake, who's projected to make it to the state finals in D2. They beat St. Ed's. They play a very, very tough schedule. So it'll be a very interesting game to see what happens against Glenville and that undefeated West Branch. So we've got our eye on that, and obviously then the Streetsboro and Canal Fulton Northwest as well.
And then when Perry holds serve, you go on and win on Friday night. Seeding, or not seeding, but where you're going to play comes out Sunday?
It'll come out Sunday at the latest, hopefully Saturday. We'll start getting some phone calls maybe Saturday morning. Assuming if the seeds hold and we're hosting Streetsboro, they're an undefeated team. We're the 2 seed, they're the 3. We'll technically be the home team. But the state has come out and said, because everybody's playing on Friday nights now. That's one thing that's changed. Last year was the first year. It's Friday night across the board, all 7 divisions, and they used to split them up. Half Friday, half Saturday. It just takes the number of locations that you can play a game. It cuts them in half, literally, because there's other schools that are still playing, and they're not going to host a game if their school is playing
Right.
somewhere. So it does reduce those opportunities. So they said, we're not really trying to find middle of the road. We're just trying to find neutral sites where each team doesn't play their home game. So we could be 5 minutes away at Riverside, or we could be 50 minutes away at Aurora, which obviously would be closer to Streetsboro. Riverside would be closer for us, and anywhere in between. So your guess is as good as mine. We'll notify everybody as soon as we know where we might end up if and when we beat Struthers on Friday night.
Yeah, and as we've talked about, 2 weeks ago, the OHSA announced that the Division IV final would be on December 7th. It would be the very last game
Yep.
of the entire weekend for the championship weekend. So December 7th, which is a Saturday, 7:30, would be the Division IV final, as long as Perry keeps on
Keeps on
the next
winning.
3-4 games.
That's right. That's all we got to do. So we'll have Coach Gusowich on here one of these upcoming weeks too, as we get into, if we keep on winning, and we'll have him back. We had him on one time earlier this year. So we'll bring up Mindy Allen, our middle school athletic director extraordinaire here for the middle school minute. I know you were going to talk some wrestling, and I'll let you start however you want to start off, but just update us. Right now, not a lot of events going on
No,
as far
but
as
it's
like
gonna
games and
start.
matches, but it's going to be here before we know it.
Yeah, it's
And,
next week,
We got
actually.
teams practicing and getting the winter season underway.
Yeah, so wrestling officially starts next Friday. So we're really looking forward to that. Got a lot of people involved as Coach Trentinelli takes the realm there. So we're really excited about that. We're going to have boys and girls. So we're still getting the information out to make sure we get as many coming out for that as possible. We do host our first middle school winter sport next Thursday against Berkshire for our girls. So we're excited about that. We're also excited our cheerleaders are going to stay back a couple weeks during the season, I think December, and they're going to cheer for a couple of the girls' games, which our high school cheerleaders do the same for our varsity girls.
Right, yeah.
So we're going to really try to pack the middle school gym again for our basketball season a couple of times and try and get more student interaction with the student center or student section and get the cheerleaders, try to get them amped up there.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome. Well, so that's Thursday the 14th, or is that a home game for the
Yes.
girls? Home game. Come on out. That'll really kickstart the winter, and as everybody knows, winter's a long season
Yeah.
here in Northeast Ohio. So November 14th, our last event will be sometime in early to mid-March. So it's a long haul between now and then. But I know the teams and the coaches are ready to roll.
yeah, we're looking forward to it. Last year, the CVC flipped our boys and girls, so our girls start first. So our boys are having open gyms on Mondays and Wednesdays. They had good turnout last night. I saw the kids there as I was practicing with the JV girls. And then they've got another one this Wednesday, and then Monday, Wednesday next week. Then the 18th is their last open gym. And then we'll be hosting tryouts on the 19th, 20th, and 21st. We did send out through Infinite Campus that information. We'll probably blast it out one more time to make sure everybody knows the time and location for those tryouts. And then the boys, their first game will be December 9th at Berkshire.
Okay.
So both boys and girls open up with Berkshire. The girls will wrap up their season on Martin Luther King weekend. The CVC tournament will be that weekend, and then they're going to be done. And then the boys will go one more month, and they'll wrap up on President's Weekend in February. So we're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I know with the CVC changing that, was it last year or the first year we did that? It actually works out well.
Yes.
There's still some overlap between the boys and the girls, but it also gives schools the facilities time to breathe a little bit, and where you're not, running the seasons simultaneously. They're about a month behind each other.
Yeah.
So best of luck. And then wrestling starts
Yeah.
next Friday officially.
Yeah,
right? I think
yeah,
that's
they
the
start
15th,
officially next
so.
Friday, and then their first meet is at Madison on
Oh, yeah.
December the 4th.
Okay.
So they'll be, so that's full swing.
Here we go.
But just to wrap up, I told you I had one more thing, but I had
Oh,
to
yeah.
crunch numbers.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm just going to share all my numbers because I'm really proud of our middle school athletes. So I went through after grades were finalized last week. They got them to me like Monday or Tuesday last week. I think it was Tuesday. And so I went through the grades. So our 7th grade volleyball team, our overall GPA for 7th grade volleyball was 3.5. Our 8th grade team was a 3.8. Our boys cross country was a 3.9.
Wow.
Our girls cross country was a 3.99.
Close.
And then our boys soccer was a 3.5. Our girls soccer was a 3.8. And then our 7th grade football was a 3.2, but our 8th grade football was a 3.92.
Wow.
They were just
Tough.
off the cross country. And then our cheerleaders overall was a 3.7. So like I'm really super
Yeah,
impressed because
yeah.
we had a lot of kids who were doing their athletics and they were involved in some clubs, and yet they were still pulling down their 4.0s, high threes. So like I am really super impressed and proud
That's
of
awesome.
all of our middle schoolers and their hard work.
Well, that's great. And as we just had Chris Bezic on, and he mentioned, student athlete
Yes.
first, athlete first, and sometimes we lose track of that.
Yes.
And so hats off to all of our middle school kids. It's a good idea. Might have to crunch the numbers at the high school and see, but it's as long as their focus is on the studies first,
Right.
the academic side, and then go and be a great athlete for us, and you're a good meld of two great things.
Right, because
So,
we want our kids, and I tell them all the time, it's great when you're really good and you excel at one thing, but really, I always told my kids, I said, do everything with a passion. So whether you're that student, whether you're the athlete, or whether you're in a club, or whether you're volunteering, whatever it is, put your whole self out there. Let's strive for that excellence across the board.
When I think you
All
see
right.
that on whatever, if it's on the court or on the field, you're in competition with your own teammates.
Right.
This is just another way, moving into the classroom when you see that, you have a 3.5 and I have a 3.4. Now
Yeah.
I'm in academic competition with you to raise my grade.
Yeah. So I've been walking around congratulating the kids. Were kind of surprised. I don't know that some of the kids even paid attention to their
Right.
grades. I pulled 3 of the 8th graders aside in gym today, and I said, hey, I want to congratulate you. I haven't had
Yeah.
a chance. I pulled some girls aside last week after I got it, and they were like kind of surprised.
Yeah.
They're like, what do you mean? They're not,
Yeah.
So I want to make sure from the athletic department, we're celebrating those kids that are, stepping forward and everything.
That's awesome. Well, congrats. That's our middle school minute for here, week 12 in our podcast. Gene, anything last minute, wrap up? Anything else we need to talk about? Again, congratulations to Holly Viss.
Yep.
Top 24 in the state of Ohio, first team All-Ohio. And Audrey Austin for qualifying, being our first ever state qualifier on the girls' tennis side. From a singles perspective, singles play.
Yeah, no, congratulations to both of them.
Yeah.
Friday, get out here. Last time to see the football team live in Perry.
Yes.
So you make sure you come out and support them. I guess the only other team we didn't touch on was swim, but I know their season's just getting rolling, so
Yeah.
not too much. I mean,
You
that
know.
could be a next week and later on as girls basketball gets going as well. So
Yep, and I know swim has been at it. That was our last home game against Hawken football-wise, because I remember walking out to the game and I'm like, oh, that's right, swim started today. So they're in the pool. They're crushing the laps. They're crushing the yardage right now. It's high yardage, high intensity practices to get ready. Their first meet isn't until the week of December 2nd, so it's going to be after Thanksgiving. So it gives them a good month and a week to really get things rolling. And we're looking. That'll be a lot of fun too. We had Brody here. I'm sure he'll be in the seat at some point. He's a returning state qualifier for us, and that should be a fun winter season.
yeah, and that's it. The football will be the last fall sport to continue going, and we'll just continue to ride out their success as they look to repeat as state champions.
Yeah, and we'll continue to get creative with what we have here, even though we don't have a lot of games or matches per se going on right now, other than that football. We've got a signing day next week where we've got a couple of athletes signing, waiting to. I don't want to say any names because I don't want to miss anybody, but we'll have a signing ceremony next Wednesday, the 13th, during ICE. And we'll see how many we end up with that day. I know of at least 2, and we'll probably bring some of them onto the show and congratulate them on their successes, because we're talking about D1, scholarship types of players here. So good times in the Perry Athletic Department. Thanks for joining us for week 12 of Walk the Plank. Get our podcast wherever you get your podcast. Tell Alexa to play Walk the Plank. She'll do it for you. Thanks everybody for joining us. Go Pirates.